Chilling words tonight from what a law enforcement source says were pages of notes in a spiral-bound notebook made by murder suspect Luigi Mangione, who's now awaiting extradition from Pennsylvania in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. In one passage, again, according to our source who was briefed on the matter, Mangione muses about what could be better than to, quote, kill the CEO at his own bean-counting conference. Now, earlier today, his attorney was asked about Mangione's state of mind at the moment.
I wasn't looking for impressions. What I was trying to do was form a bond with my client. I want him to trust me, and I want him to be confident that I'm here for him. And I feel that I'm very pleased how that went.
As we mentioned before the break, some of his friends describe him dropping off the radar recently. We still don't know much about that. We know more, though, about what came before, and our Gary Tuchman has that.
The high school valedictorian, Luigi Mangione, graduating from Baltimore's Gilman School in 2016, an exclusive private school.
The parents here today, first off, sending us to Gilman was far from a small financial investment.
Indeed, tuition at the private school was and still is pricey, at almost $38,000 a year today. But murder suspect Mangione had a family with plenty of money.
I was just stunned, shocked, couldn't believe it. Not who you would think of at all.
Thomas Moronic Jr. is an attorney who knows the family.
Mangione family is one of the prominent families of Baltimore County. They own a lot of real estate, they own golf courses. They're just a very well-respected name.
In this family picture, Luigi Mangione stands third from the left. He is surrounded by his sisters. His father, Louis, and mother, Kathleen, are on the right. In the late 70s, the murder suspect's late grandfather, World War II veteran Nicholas Mangione Sr., and his late grandmother, Mary, started creating a business empire. The grandfather grew up in Baltimore's Little Italy neighborhood. He ended up buying 2 country clubs, started a nursing home company, and bought WCBM Radio, a well-known conservative talk station in Baltimore. Family members also run a family foundation that has nearly $4.5 million in assets, and were longtime benefactors of Loyola University, Maryland. The suspect's father today runs the family business. Attorney Moronic used to be a talk show host at the radio station owned by the family.
Well, they donated money for the pools, the swimming center at Loyola University. It bears their name. That's a huge amount of donating to get that.
One of Luigi Mangione's cousins is a state legislator in Maryland.
I am Delegate Nino Mangione, for the record, District 42A in Baltimore County.
Republican delegate Nino Mangione introduced a bill earlier this year to bring back the death penalty in Maryland.
I believe we need to send a strong signal to the most vicious of all criminals that if you take a life, that justice in turn will demand your life.
The bill failed. Notably, New York State, where United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was killed, also does not have the death penalty. State Delegate Mangione released a statement on behalf of the family that says in part, "Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all involved. We are devastated by the news." Luigi Mangione received an Ivy League education, graduating with a bachelor's and then master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania. That, coupled with his family wealth, afforded him advantages most don't have. To conclude his high school valedictorian speech, he said this.
It's been an incredible journey, and I simply can't imagine the last few years with any other group of guys.
A young man of promise then, an alleged killer now, whose journey into darkness has only just begun. Gary Tuchman, CNN, New York.
Some perspective now. Joining us is forensic psychologist Chris Mohandy and CNN senior national security analyst Juliette Kayyem. Juliette, I'm listening to Gary expand on his background. How does that, or how might it fit into the puzzle that investigators are trying to piece together right now? I mean, is this the usual profile for a shooter in this kind of crime?
The profiles differ, but the idea that he had a great education and came from privilege, we've had killers like this before, in particular the Unabomber. Kaczynski was Ivy League educated, was quite smart, had a purpose for his killings. So the thing that they're going to try to connect, at least in the investigation, is what happened to lead to this moment? Was it the physical pain that he was in? Was it outside substances, drugs, or whatever else? Was it a radicalization process either through books or online? So they're going to be looking at that got him focused on not just hating our healthcare system, but actually hunting down a CEO.
Chris, I mean, we've learned the suspect fell out of contact with his friends and family for about 6 months ahead of the alleged killing. What does that tell you? How critical will his actions during that time period be for investigators and just to kind of understand why he did this?
I think it's going to be critical to piece together what was going on in those 6 months. The fact that his mom filed a missing persons report November 18th strongly suggests that there was deterioration that they noted. His friends noted that he dropped off the radar. All of these things are consistent with, and I don't, provide these kinds of statements lightly, that there's a likely deterioration in his mental state. He actually looks different than he did as the joyful younger man that he was. There's an intensity that is about him that he did not used to have. I believe that there's a chance that he could have a significant mental deterioration. That doesn't change the fact that he had a grievance, that it was likely based in his own personal experience, and then learning about the experiences of others, and then immersing himself in the materials in books that he was reading, Deny, Defend, Delay, or some variant of that, and a couple of other books. As well as his identification with Ted Kaczynski, who was mentioned by our other esteemed guest here, that led him to justify those other statements that were in that alleged manifesto of the parasites had it coming, and then ultimately to prepare, which is, these are the steps that a person goes through to ultimately do and involve themselves in this kind of targeted violence.
Yeah, Julia, I just want to play again the incident as he was being led into court today and ask you about it.
Whoa, back up. And completely out of touch and insult the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
I mean, there are some people out there who are portraying this guy as like an avenger for, a cause. What I don't understand is how much is it just he read stuff and is impassioned and did this, which seems less likely to me than he had some severe mental health issue that then he started to focus on this particular thing through that lens.
Yes, or it could be all of the above, that there's mental deterioration, then it's linked to what we understand is a physical ailment. And then this is the key and goes to what he was saying there. Then him creating a narrative of why it wasn't just about him, right? And now this is exactly what Kaczynski did. And the ties, the clear ties between Kaczynski and this case, in terms of creating a narrative that the killing isn't just a killing, it's a killing for a purpose. That purpose then elevates the person, right? So they become some sort of cult leader. And remember, Kaczynski also had followers like this. We didn't have the internet or social media, but he had a lot of people who were kind of into him. And we see that now. And the danger of that isn't simply it's wrong, it's disgusting, he murdered and assassinated a person. But then you get into the copycat aspects of this. People who do not have the mental deterioration or the physical deterioration and just decide this is the way forward for whatever I deem as social justice.
Yeah. Chris Mahandy, Juliette Kayyem, thank you.